Okay, Coach. So you've had a chance to look at the film, review it a little bit. I think after we talked on game day, just afterwards, you said there was some being able to finish and tightening up some things and obviously taking better care of the football. Anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, those are the two big things that you take away from the game. The turnovers, prevented us from scoring a lot more. And I think we would have been a lot more effective offensively if we held on to the football. We did win the time of possession battle, but we ended some drives with turnovers. So certainly we need to take care of the football. And there's a lot that goes into it. The quarterback always gets the blame, but there's usually more to it than that, certainly. But taking care of the football, turnovers are one of the biggest things that determine the outcome of games at our level, at the pro level. So we have to make sure that we're doing a good job there. And in the end, when you look at what we did defensively, I didn't realize just how effective we were defensively until I saw the stats after the game. I didn't realize we were having a good game, but we held them to 1 first down and 155 total yards in the first 3 quarters of the game, and we continued that well into the fourth quarter. They got the ball back deep in their end at 3:08. And got a couple of first downs. We had a defender fall down, they get the big play, and all of a sudden they tie up the game. It was the first time the entire game that they had actually moved the ball the length of the field. So we did a great job. I don't think we ran out of gas. I just think we had that misfortune, on the one play that really opened the game. It was a 38-yard gain, and it put them in scoring position. They were able to finish the drive.
Okay, so you have the freshman quarterback now, and you kind of feel kind of confident there because a lot of what he's done has been very good. I mean, the ball protection issues aside. Defensively now, when you come off a game like this, how many times in your GoHolyCross career, while you've been here, can you think of, that you've had a lot of confidence coming out of a game about your defense now?
Unfortunately, not as much in the last couple of years. We've been really up and down. We've had good games and we've had poor games and some that were in between. But I felt going into the season that we had the ability to be a very good defensive unit, and I think they're really starting to come along. I mean, I just look at the effort level on Saturday, and when you play with that kind of effort, and get in the right positions, you're gonna do some good things. So I think the players really believe in what we're doing right now. They're playing with high effort, and we have had some guys come off of injuries and they're back in the depth chart, and that's helping us from that standpoint as well.
What do you take from the 3 overtime periods, because they're almost like a different, separate part of the game? There was regulation, which was just so back and forth and tight, and then you get into that area where it's overtime and every play is so critical because they're so close to the end zone. So how do you assess that from what your team did?
You have to look at it as you would at the end of a drive, getting into the red zone. You have to make those opportunities count, whether in an overtime or during the course of the game. Certainly, when you get into overtime, it's do or die, and we did a good job the first 2 times, and the second time we got off, the third time we got off schedule and missed a field goal, which really took all the pressure off of Harvard at that point, because in their mind they have to just get a first down and get a field goal, so we put them in the driver's seat. You always want to be on defense first in overtime. That's something from a strategic standpoint, and unfortunately the third overtime that we didn't have that luxury.
All right, so now you hit league play, and how do you feel about your team overall as you hit this? Because now it's like a separate season, so now you're on course. You still have in your sights a Patriot League crown. So where do you begin this week against Bucknell?
Well, it does feel like it's a different season. The way the schedule worked out, all of our Patriot League games are the final 6 games of the year. So it does feel like you're going into a different phase or even a whole new season. But there's also a feeling on the team that we're a different team than we were just 2 weeks ago. I think our ability to move the ball and score points on offense, having a healthy quarterback, has really changed the complexion of what we're doing on that side of the ball, and it's had ripple effects in the other 2 phases of the game as well. For example, our time of possession has gone up dramatically in the last 2 weeks, and that takes a lot of the pressure off the offense and defense, the special teams and defense. So it all goes together, and I think our players are confident that we can win the rest of our ball games, and we're better prepared to do that at this point.
Just talk about the mental approach of your team. Have you been able to notice And does it just happen to coincide with, you know, the ascension of Pujols as your starter? Or, you know, is there other things you've noticed? Is there better attention to detail? Are your practices crisper, sharper? Tell me how that's been the last couple of weeks.
I think we've evolved in a lot of ways. Yeah, I do think it has a lot to do with the offensive production, but I just look at our defense and special teams. We have guys that have been practicing in these roles for weeks on end now, and they're just getting better. They understand what we're doing. They're getting more proficient. We can cut down on practice time, things like that, to keep them fresher on Saturdays. So I think it's all going together, but there's a lot more confidence on the team, not in any one area, the overall team. They feel like we can win games now. We just have to go out and close the deal.
All right, and again, you've been here for a few years now, so, and I'm asking you to forecast, kind of project out a little bit, but do you think that in time, a few weeks from now, maybe we'll even look back and say, boy, that Harvard game was something. We didn't get the win, but it meant a lot to our season.
I'm hoping that's the case, and I believe it will be the case at this point. And I think we will look back and say, you know, that's when it all came together. We know that Harvard's a very good football team. They've been very good for the last 15 straight years, and you know, they're kind of the benchmark every year. We're very disappointed that we lost the game, and any loss is unacceptable. But at the same time, we showed that we could go toe to toe and even outstat a very good football team. And so I think we're getting better as we go along here, and as we get a couple more players back on the depth chart that have been injured the last few weeks, I think we'll be a much stronger football team in the second half of the season. So I think this is a critical crossroads for us.